Hello, BookTube. I'm Peg, the book prize addict, and welcome to my channel. Hope you all had a good Christmas or whatever holiday you're celebrating. And I'm here to say you need to say goodbye to Mr. Nutcracker. He won't be here shown again till next year. Anyway, I'm really enjoying the end of the year videos that everybody's putting up. And I noticed that since I've declared that my channel is going to be mostly about the book prizes that I've loved and followed for many years now, it seems like more and more prizes are coming to the fore. I actually just heard about one yesterday, which I'm here to talk about, called the Crossword Book Jury Award from India. Now, when I saw crossword, I thought, how can you have a prize on puzzles? But this crossword, in this case, refers to a chain of bookstores in India, I guess the Crossword Bookstores, who sponsored this prize and have done so for 25 years. And their mission is to bring forward the quality of Indian writing in English. And so I was really glad to find this because, as I mentioned the other day, I love to read books that take place in India. Now, this prize has the usual 4 categories: fiction, nonfiction, children's, and translations, I believe. But as always, I'm just dealing with the fiction part of it. Now, a lot of these are not available in the here in the U.S. anyway. At this point, I looked up some of them, and they said they had them used for $5, but then I looked and the shipping fee was going to be $25. So I'm just making do with some reading about these in most cases, but I still thought it'd be fun to talk about them. There's another Asian prize that I did earlier this year called the South Asian Prize. And many of the books that was actually administered in India, and many of the books were around India, but not all of them. So this is probably the one that I found so far that's completely dedicated to Indian writing. Anyway, so I think I'll just go through the 5 books on the fiction list. I do have cover copies of them, so you can kind of see what they look like and tell you a little bit that I've been able to find out about each. Okay, first we have, oh, don't do that. Okay, oh no, stop. Okay, let's think of something else while I find it again. I had practiced this and now it's acting up. Okay, Murder and Mayhem by Jerry Pinto. This author, Jerry Pinto, is very prolific. In fact, he's on this list twice. He's in the translation part of this prize for a book he translated from one of the Indian languages into English. And he also is an editor, I believe, and novelist. He's written quite a few novels. This is his first one on a crime novel. Evidently, it takes place in Mumbai, I believe, and starts out with a dead body found in the restroom in the railway station, and main characters are a Mumbai policeman and a retired journalist in the story. From the review I read, it's both a thriller and a social commentary, and the city of Mumbai itself is kind of one of the main characters, which I would really like because I love when the setting plays a big part in a story, especially in a foreign place. Okay, next we have Association of Small Bombs. This is much more well known here in the U.S. anyway, and readily available. I actually read it last summer when it was on the list of our National Book Award. It was a finalist for that, and it was also a New York Times Best Book of the Year last year. This takes place in contemporary Delhi and involves a small explosion that goes off with a homemade bomb in the marketplace there, and the result and the what follows is how it affects the victims and the families of the victims and the story behind that. So it was very good and has done very well. This next one, I'll let you say it. It's a book of short stories, and actually it is available on Kindle, so I was able to read the first short story as a free sample, and I really enjoyed it. These stories all take place in a small town in southern India and all around the colorful characters in that town. And the story I read, and evidently all of them, have sort of a quirky humor to them, and the characters really stand out. It's about the characters, certainly in the one I read, and at some point I may download this and read the others because I really enjoyed it, and it certainly gave me a taste of small town India. Next we have Things to Leave Behind by Namita Gokhale. This is the only one in this part of the list anyway, by a woman author, and this is the last in a trilogy she wrote, set in a mountainous area in India. It takes place in 1857 during an Indian uprising against British rule, and there is a very strong main female character in it. The review I read called it a historic epic about colonialism, caste, and changing cultures. So that actually sounds good. This one, again, is not really available, or I couldn't find it available anywhere. So maybe after the book prize is announced, the winner anyway will be published and more available to us. And the next one also I would love to be able to get a hold of, called Harlal and Sons by Sujit Saraf. Now, this deals with the Marwari community of Calcutta, which I looked up, and is evidently one of the more denigrated communities there. They speak a different language and have quite a history of prejudice against them. And this may be perhaps the first book that's been written specifically about them. It is actually an epic, historical epic. It starts in 1889 when the eponymous character, Harlal, leaves his home and makes a long trek across to Bengali. And from there on, it deals with his life as he gets a family and starts a business. And the review on this said it deals with migration, displacement, and the Marwari experience. That actually sounds good, too. It's funny, this is a strange color for the cover of a novel. I bet if it's ever published here, they'll change the color. I can't see a novel being this color. Maybe it will. Anyway, so those are this list. I believe the winner is going to be announced sometime in January, so I'll try to remember to inform you. And as I said, maybe we'll be able to get the books more readily then. Meanwhile, I'm reading every day, every chance I get, books for the upcoming Costa Award, which will be awarded on January 2nd. And I'm going to try to have a video on the two fiction categories on that and talk about the books and who I think should win. So I'll be back around New Year's, and Happy New Year's to everybody. Keep reading. Thanks. Bye.